Hello guys, and I'm gonna do something I've never done before. A review. Yeah. This bad boy. Done. So I'm gonna go through each of the 3 stories and talk about what happens in the story, which part of the Five Nights at Freddy's universe they take place in, and my thoughts of how it's going to tie into the Stitch Wraith secret story that's happening behind all of them. But first, let's start with story number 1, which is called Into the Pit. Now, this story starts out a bit, how do I put it, slow at first. This guy, Oswald, he wishes his summer wasn't so boring and all, so... And then he starts hanging out at what's the guy's name? I'm gonna check it real quick. At Jeff's Pizzeria. Jeff's Pizza. And Jeff is a normal person. He's like a normal guy who... And he's really nice. He even gives Oswald free pizza and all, but... Then... but... I'm not relating him to Michael Afton, but Oswald does say that Jeff looks kind of like a zombie of some sort in one of the part of the book, so... But then, Oswald figures that he should prank his dad, so... One day you see, Jeff's Pizza is built into, like, an area where an old pizzeria used to be, and there's still remnants of that old pizzeria, including a ball pit. Well, Oswald decides to prank his dad by jumping into this ball pit one time. And hide there until his dad comes inside to try to find him because of... Well, yeah. But anyway, he ends up going and hiding in the ball pit, and 100 seconds later, he gets out because he was struggling to breathe. And then he finds himself in the midst of this big, huge pizzeria. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in its prime time. Little kids are playing around in the ball pit or all around him, and it turns out that he's in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in 1985, or I think that's what it was, what the time was. It was, 1985, yeah. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in 1985. He makes friends with these 2 kids and decides that he doesn't want to, just stay in Jeff's Pizza all the time. He decides to go to this different world every time. Every day to kind of have some fun and hang around with his new friends. But something around here isn't what it should be. He notices some weird rabbit mascot disc thing lurking around there. He figures it's just somebody in a mascot suit trying to entertain. And he even calls the animatronics creepy. So... But basically... On like the 5th or 6th time he goes there, he finds himself in the midst of a crime scene, people screaming, running away from something. He thinks, wait, are my friends somewhere in there? So he decides to go and investigate. And what he finds is that exact same rabbit mascot, except this thing turns out it must be like some type of creature because it has teeth, sharp teeth, and a tongue and stuff like that. Its eyes it looks like it doesn't look metallic. It looks more like a real monster. He finds it, and I mean it gestures to him to come over here, like how William Afton does, except this isn't William Afton. And he goes into the room where the creature's beckoning him to go to, and he sees a few kids killed, murdered, sitting at a party booth. And the creature is just like this, just like marveling in his own stuff, like wanting to show off his handiwork and stuff. Oswald decides to try to run away. He runs into the ball pit, and apparently his dad was, he was in that time in the ball pit for a few hours, so his dad was there. But didn't have enough time for reunions, because as soon as he got out, the thing followed him out. The rabbit, it took his dad, brought him into the ball pit, and left him trapped there in 1985. The creature then drags Oswald out of the pizzeria and hijacks Oswald's dad's car. Brings Oswald back to his home, and apparently everybody sees this as normal. Sees that this creature, this thing that has captured Oswald and did who knows what to his dad, they saw this creature as Oswald's dad for some reason. Like, when they saw the creature, they saw Oswald's dad. Oswald then starts to contemplate on what to do. He decides to go to his room and wait until night. In the midst of night, he sneaks past his mom and dad's room. The creature's laying in there, just its eyes open, but not even moving. Oswald creeps past with no restraint. He gets out of the house and heads towards Jeff's Pizza. He hurries down there. There, he immediately jumps into the ball pit. Jeff's watching some type of ball game on the TV and doesn't even see Oswald. So Oswald just jumps into the ball pit in order to try to save his father. He finds his father, but then the creature ends up attacking. The creature attacks Oswald, bites his arm, causing his arm to bleed, but Oswald pulls back in time so that the teeth doesn't have enough time to sink into his arm. The creature then lunges at Oswald, but Oswald dodges and jumps on the creature's back. The creature then grabs Oswald and throws him down, but then gets caught in the netting above the ball pit. Oswald just watches in terror as the creature eventually strangles his own self in the netting of the ball pit, eventually hanging like a person from a noose. Oswald and his dad leaves the pizzeria and all. So yeah. This is a pretty good story and all. And I know what day it takes place in. It takes place in like the present day. Like, with social media, I believe YouTube is mentioned in it and all, so It takes place in the present day. So yeah. But anyway, time to get on to the next story, which is called To Be Beautiful. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save that for another episode, but here's what I'm going to try to think. So far in these books, people who survive, I don't know if Scott's going to bring Oswald back into the picture again for another Fazbear Fright story or what, but whatever it is. But this Into the Pit was a good story and all, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's my review and everything. And this book, there's a difference between the game lore and the book lore. There's the game lore, and then there's the book lore. They're two separate things. So everything that happens in that story doesn't happen in the game lore. But some of these Fazbear Fright stories that I've noticed, some of it does take place in the game lore, but I'm just telling you, the 3 and this one doesn't take place in the game lore. It takes place somewhere outside of the game lore. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next review.